1 minute, yep. Hello, everybody. Hello. Good evening and welcome to Candidates Night. My name is Maria Bonfiglioli, and I will be the moderator this evening. On behalf of the North Braintree Civic Association, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us here tonight and to those of you who are watching us from home. This evening, we have the privilege of hearing from a remarkable group of individuals who have chosen to step forward and serve our community. We have 4 candidates running for 3 open seats on school committee. Stacy Donahoe, Mark Kurzberg, Roger Lee, and incumbent school committee member Kathy Tuffy. We have 4 candidates running for 3 at-large positions on town council: District 1 Councilor Julia Flaherty, Justine Huang, incumbent councilor Dave Ringus, and Ryan Sterling. 2 candidates running for District 1 Town Council, Rob Kadire and James Diuti, and 2 candidates running for District 5 Council, incumbent councilor Meredith Berica and Rob Toma. Before we begin, I'd like to go over the rules of engagement so that everyone understands the format and expectations for tonight's debate. First, each candidate will have 1 minute to deliver both an opening and closing statement. Second, all candidates in each race will be asked the same set of questions. Each candidate will have a designated amount of time to respond. I'll let you know the response time after each question is read, along with whether a rebuttal opportunity will be available for that particular question. Time will be monitored by Jennifer Wadland and Liz Page, seated here in the front row. They will raise a stop sign when a candidate's time is up. If you're mid-sentence, when that happens, you may finish your thought, but we'll have to move on to the next candidate. Third, once all candidates have answered a question, each will have the option to offer 1 rebuttal lasting up to 30 seconds if a rebuttal is available on that question. Rebuttals will follow the same order as the original question and may address any specific point made during that response, in that response only. Jen and Liz will raise a stop sign when your rebuttal time is up. Each candidate is permitted 1 rebuttal per question. Fourth, seating arrangements were determined earlier this evening through a random draw from a deck of cards. We'll rotate the order of questions throughout the debate to ensure fairness for all candidates. And finally, before we started this evening, I spoke with each candidate about how they prefer to be addressed. The way I address each candidate tonight is at their request. As we begin, let's please remember that tonight's forum is designed to inform, engage, and connect our community. We ask everyone to help maintain a spirit of respect and fairness, ensuring all voices are heard and every opinion is respected. And with that, let's begin. As you can see, we have the candidates for school committee. Kathy Tuffy is going to start with her opening statement.
Good evening. I'm running for re-election to the Braintree School Committee to continue working for our students, our families, and our educators. As a former Braintree teacher, certified to teach K-8 elementary and 5 through 12 math, I bring a classroom perspective to every decision we make. As a school committee member, I have led a review of more than 140 Braintree policies, advocated for strong academic programming and additional support for students who need help. I have lobbied our state legislators to eliminate tuition for full-day kindergarten and help guide the superintendent's evaluation. I firmly believe in transparency and share my meeting notes after each school committee meeting via email and Facebook. My experience is closely aligned with the key responsibilities of the school committee, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Stacy Donahoe.
Hi, I'm Stacy Drake Donahoe. I'm a Braintree High class of '99 graduate. And like a lot of my classmates, I decided to come back to Braintree and raise my kids here because, I mean, the schools are great, right? So let's keep them that way. I started attending school committee meetings, watching online back during the pandemic, and then obviously going in person once that was available. And I really my biggest concern is the budget, right? With budget constraints, it's not going to be easy over the next probably 10 years. My background's in finance, and I said, hey, maybe I can do something about this, and here I am. On a day-to-day basis, I work in corporate treasury, which means I have to solve problems on a daily basis, uncover root causes, find solutions, and work with a lot of different stakeholders, internally and externally in my company, to make sure that we get the right solution. And I feel that this is just something that I could bring to the table with the school committee, so I'm here today to try to do that. Thank you.
Mark Kurzberg.
Good evening. I'd like to thank North Braintree for hosting tonight and BCAM for televising. My name is Mark Kurzberg, and I have lived in Braintree for most of my life. My wife and I have decided to make Braintree our home and to raise our family here. My father walked me to my first day of kindergarten at Manadequat Elementary. He taught me how to ride a bike in the high school parking lot. As a graduate of Braintree Public Schools and a proud WOMP, I want my kids to have the same, if not more, opportunities than I had. As a school committee member, my focus will be on building a new high school, restoring critical programming and math and reading specialists that were cut, and working within our budget to ensure our resources are being used as widely as possible to provide the best education for our students. Our students deserve leaders who will put education over politics, people over partisanship, and our children over national agendas. I look forward to earning your vote tonight. Thank you.
Roger Lee.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Roger Lee. I'm proud to be running for the Braintree School Committee. First and foremost, I am a father of two boys, aged 5 and 7, who are both in our public school system. Like many parents, I want nothing more than my children and every children in our town to have access to the best education possible. Professionally, I co-founded a company called Adventure, where we sent teachers overseas to China, Vietnam, Japan to teach English. We also helped schools modernize, moving from pen and paper systems to computer technology. That experience showed me how innovation, accountability, and community can transform education. Here in Braintree, I believe we can unite our community instead of dividing it, support our teachers, invest in programs that prepare our children for the future. That's why I'm running. I'm excited to share my vision with you tonight.
Thank you. The first question will go to Kathy Tuffy. How will you bring greater transparency and accountability to the school budget so taxpayers can clearly see how funds, including one-time funding, tax revenues, and fees are spent? You have 1 minute to respond. After all candidates have answered this question, I will ask if any have a rebuttal.
Thank you. I think funding is the biggest issue that we face in Braintree. Although the school committee approves the budget and reviews it, we do not set the budget. That comes from the mayor's office. I have been very proactive about communicating what's happening during budget meetings. I post after the meetings. You can look back at my Facebook page and see the budget hearings from the time I've been on the committee. I have been very proactive about the high fees our parents pay. I think that they are essentially a de facto tax on young families in Braintree. full-day kindergarten fees, bus fees, etc. Those all need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacy, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
How will you bring greater transparency and accountability to the school budget so taxpayers can clearly see how funds, including one-time funding, tax revenues, and fees are spent?
I would say that, the school committee has a fiduciary responsibility to transparency. What I've seen as a parent in the budget is just not drilled down enough for me. And while the school committee doesn't set the actual numbers, I think it's great to be someone who likes to ask questions, and that's me. I think that we need to really look at, how we can pull data down to understand the effectiveness of the money being spent in the budget. A lot of times, it's big chunks, like this is going to special ed, this is going here, this is going there. Like, how do we measure that? And I think that's an important thing to start thinking about as far as the budget goes and being able to tell our community, this is where the money is being spent and it is effective. We do see, our MCAS scores going up or, whatever the measure may be.
Thank you. Mark, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes.
How will you bring greater transparency and accountability to the school budget so taxpayers can clearly see how funds, including one-time funding, tax revenue, and fees are spent?
Thank you. So to clarify, the mayor's office does set the dollar amount for the budget, which is then brought to the superintendent. There's also a budget subcommittee that is an extension of the school committee, and if I am fortunate enough to be on that committee, I plan on one posting online every line item that we are allowed to post during that time. Some of this stuff happens in executive session, but we can post online and invite families, parents, anyone that wants to be involved or be heard at a school committee meeting to come speak before, ask questions, and give very transparent answers on any line item that they have questions on in the budget. So, for example, any program that's being funded with one-time funds uses, I think we need to make a point of letting everybody know that that is what we have, and going forward, we need to either find alternative ways to fund that project or know that this is a temporary measure. Thank you.
Roger, would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
How will you bring greater transparency and accountability to the school budget so taxpayers can clearly see how funds, including one-time funding, tax revenues, and fees are spent?
Thank you, Maria. I believe that right now, information is being shared. Kathy actually shares this information on the website. Not all information, but enough where people can see it. It's just the problem is when you navigate this website, it's impossible to find this information. So we need to work on trying to figure out how we can get people to access this, how people can figure out how to find this information, because information is out there. It's just that it's not easy. So what I plan to do is try to figure out what solutions we can do to work on sharing this information for everyone.
Thank you. Does anybody have a rebuttal? Okay. We're going to move on to question 2. Stacy, if there was no deficit to worry about in Braintree, would you support closing neighborhood elementary schools to free resources for rebuilding Braintree High or replenishing the school building trust fund, which has been depleted? You have 1 minute to respond, and this question also has a rebuttal.
Personally, I love neighborhood schools. I really think that there's something extremely important about elementary school kids feeling safe, comfortable, and at home when they're, just learning to read and write. But I also feel like, this is a really tough question, our high school kids need to be brought into 2025. So I think I would have to say if the option was either neighborhood schools or a new high school, I would probably have to choose a new high school. I think we're behind in technology, we're behind in a lot of different ways that a new building could probably support for our kids who are going on to actually work in a workplace. I think that's where I'd have to go with that.
Thank you. Mark, would you like me to repeat?
Yes.
If there was no deficit to worry about in Braintree, would you support closing neighborhood elementary schools to free resources for rebuilding Braintree High or replenishing the school building trust fund, which has been depleted?
Thank you. If there were no deficit in Braintree, this would be an entirely different conversation, but there is, and I don't want to pit the elementary schools against the desperate need for a new high school. We did find out Monday night that there is $50 million in deferred maintenance just at the elementary schools, so yes, the elementary schools do have an issue as well. But if you look at the high school, you look at the property, the process, and really the only option that Braintree has right now is to submit a statement of interest to the MSBA and hope that they select us immediately to partner with them and do a feasibility study. That feasibility study will tell us one of two things. We can renovate the high school or we can build a new one, and we don't get to decide that. Personally, I don't see the vision for rehabbing the current high school. If you look at the property, you look at the layout, we have an amazing opportunity there to build a beautiful new high school with state-of-the-art technology, with state-of-the-art athletics, indoors and outdoors, and that will reignite the spark of we need to move to Braintree for the schools. And that will solve a lot of the
Thank you,
town's
Mark.
financial problems. Thank you.
Roger, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
If there was no deficit to worry about in Braintree, would you support closing neighborhood elementary schools to free resources for rebuilding Braintree High or replenishing the school building trust fund, which has been depleted?
Thank you. I feel as though this question is a little bit of a trick question. I am going to answer it, but I hate the idea of trying to pit community against community, closing neighborhood schools, trying to tell, hey, we're going to take resources from here and place it there. That just doesn't seem very fair. Or if I had to choose, and if I was in this position, I would figure out how we can do alternative sources of income. How else can we generate more income? And also, transparency is a big thing, right? We're talking about transparency, and this does matter in terms of our budget and how much of that money is being spent. I would like to raise some of these schools that used to be a part of the school system is no longer a part of it. MSKC, for instance, is no longer a part of it. Where does that money go when right now it's being rented out as a Montessori school? I would like to figure out that.
Thank you, Roger. Does anybody have a rebuttal? Oh, Kathy, I apologize. Kathy, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes.
If there was no deficit to worry about in Braintree, would you support closing neighborhood elementary schools to free resources for rebuilding Braintree High or replenishing the school building trust fund, which has been depleted?
So we did a pretty extensive review of options with Sanborn last year, and ultimately decided to pause redistricting while we have 3 consultants working on this. I think it's important for people to understand that in the 2024 facilities assessment review, they identified $98 million in capital replacements that need to be done, 42 million at the high school and another 48 million in the elementary schools and 8 million at Old South. The MSBA has provided about 50% of the money for the East Middle School and South Middle School rebuild. If we rebuild the new high school, that's about 400 million. So we'd be looking at 200 million for debt exclusion in Braintree.
Thank you, Kathy. Does anybody have a rebuttal? Mark?
Well, not so much that this is a rebuttal, but just provide a little bit more information on those numbers for the deferred maintenance on the schools. That's not to get new technology, brand new classrooms, do a bunch of nice things for the teachers and the students and the admin there. That's to make sure that the toilets flush and the heat turns on. That's a very large number to make sure that our buildings don't crumble. We're not getting nice new things here. This is deferred maintenance that should have been done, and now we're going to pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to go to question 3. And Mark, this will go to you. Currently, the school committee meetings are held in a room at the Colbert Administration Building where seating is extremely limited. Would you support moving these meetings to a larger, more accessible location to allow greater public attendance and participation? You have 30 seconds to respond, and there is no rebuttal on this question.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I do support moving the location. I don't know about one specific location, but something that was done in the past that I think we need to bring back was it would rotate throughout the schools throughout town. That way, one, we're bringing the school committee meeting to each of the neighborhood schools as well as the 2 middle schools and high school. It gives greater access to people who, if you live in East Braintree, you don't have to drive to the other side of town to catch a school committee meeting. And I think that it would increase community involvement. Thank you.
Thank you. Roger, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Currently, the school committee meetings are held in a room at the Colbert Administration Building where seating is extremely limited. Would you support moving these meetings to a larger, more accessible location to allow greater public attendance and participation?
I would love to move the meetings to a place where it's easily accessible because firsthand experience when I went there, I didn't know where I was going. It was definitely one of the harder places to find. But if that's at the expense of something more important, like cutting budget or trying to say we're going to close a school for $400,000, then I would not like that. That would not be worth it.
Thank you. Kathy.
This was one of the first things that school committee members talked to the new superintendent about, and Superintendent McDonald has committed to holding meetings at the elementary schools and rotating them through. I'm looking forward to that. It gives us a chance to see the building plants, which is important, and it also gives us a chance to see the children. They come in and perform. And it gives the parents from that district a greater chance to attend.
Thank you. Stacy.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think it's really important to be flexible when it comes to these types of things because we've got, parents that work at different times. We have people that have different type of commutes. Changing the building that it's in and making sure there's enough seats. It's kind of funny on a regular old school committee. It probably doesn't matter because there's like 3 of us there. But I think in addition to changing the place, why don't we make sure we get more engagement? Why don't we get parents out, the community out, and see what it's like, and actually discuss some of the issues together and work as a team.
Thank you. This question number 4, we'll start with Roger. According to Niche, Braintree High School is currently ranked 95th out of 357 public high schools in Massachusetts. What changes, initiatives, or investments would you advocate for to strengthen the perception of our schools in addition to the school system itself? You have 90 seconds to answer this question, and there is a rebuttal.
So I know that right now the Massachusetts board is trying to ban cell phone and technology in general, and I understand that is prohibiting students from learning properly. But at the same time, technology is what's going to drive our future. So I definitely feel as though investments into technology and AI and actually trying to figure out infrastructure as well which was part of the master plan. They were talking about trying to redo the rooms so that they fit more modern style teaching. And that's where we're gonna be able to help get the children and guide them to the place where we need them to go for the future. We definitely need to use technology as part of the solution instead of what Massachusetts is trying to do and take it away. Another thing is definitely trying to create more labs. This is one of the things that was cut during the budget crisis. Basically, we're pitting our budget against having brighter futures for our children because we're saying that, hey, we don't have money for these teachers. We don't have money for these programs. We don't have money to renovate the schools. So then we're not able to go ahead and give you the best education.
Thank you. Kathy, would you like me to repeat the question? According to Niche, Braintree High School is currently ranked 95th out of 357 public high schools in Massachusetts. What changes, initiatives, or investments would you advocate for to strengthen the perception of our schools in addition to the school system itself?
Thank you. So in last year, we cut 4 high school positions. There's larger class, resulting in larger class sizes. We've cut support classes, math strategies, which was support for passing the math MCAS, which is no longer a graduation requirement, math workshop, passing math MCAS. We have classes that are no longer leveled. In addition to that, our labs, our science labs are sorely lacking. In order to make those changes, we need funds, we need revenue. And we can get revenue by an override, which we did. We can, or by increasing funds from development. I think that some people don't realize that the Prop 2.5 override from 1980 has not kept pace with inflation. So that's forced municipalities to cut real spending every year that inflation exceeds 3%, which it has since COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you. Stacy, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
According to Niche, Braintree High School is currently ranked 95th out of 357 public high schools in Massachusetts. What changes, initiatives, or investments would you advocate for to strengthen the perception of our schools in addition to the school system itself?
I think perception's a funny thing. I think a lot of people, they say, oh, my kid, played a game at Braintree High, what a dump. Okay, so maybe it doesn't look great, right? Niche is also just one rating company. I mean, personally, I think that our school system is way better than what people say it is. I've seen a lot of kids go to really amazing colleges. I've seen a lot of kids graduate and go on to work and do really well. Some of the things that I think are really important to think about going forward is just, I think Roger kind of stated too, is technology. We have no classes that teach AI. And, actually at a town hall at work the other day, we had an executive stand up and said, everyone's been asking me, is AI going to replace me? And he said, no, AI is not going to replace you, but you will be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI effectively. And I think that's really important, for our students in high school especially, to learn now, not in college. Get into college already knowing that and be ahead of everyone else. And I love a new building, but, money. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
According to Niche, Braintree High School is currently ranked 95th out of 357 public high schools in Massachusetts. What changes, initiatives, or investments would you advocate for to strengthen the perceptions of our schools in addition to the school system itself?
Thank you. Again, quite simply put, we need a new high school. All right, we come up here, we've talked about the problems we faced, the cost, the state of the actual buildings. Rehabbing the high school will not bring that technology that our kids need in order to learn AI and to be able to thrive in an ever-changing world. A new high school, again, a reimagined campus up there that has state-of-the-art indoor and outdoor athletic facilities, and all of the state-of-the-art technology will drive people to Braintree and will drive revenue for Braintree. Waltham just built a beautiful campus up there with 18 separate trades programs in addition to a full regular high school. The cost for that was $347 million. That ship has long sailed in terms of cost, but that was an investment in Waltham that is going to pay dividends for decades to come, and it's time that Braintree make an investment as well in our buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have a rebuttal?
I would just like to follow up on the impact of AI. Many of our students went into learned coding in school and then went into computer science, including one of my own children. And those jobs are disappearing because basic coding is done by AI now. They need people to check the codes, but there's a difference in career paths.
Thank you. Okay, we are now going to start with our closing statements, and we are going to start with Roger. Roger, you have 1 minute.
At the end of the day, this election is not about politics. It's about people. It's about the parents, the students, the teachers, and the neighbors working together to build a stronger future for Braintree. I'm committed to finding new funding opportunities to expand what is possible for our schools, and I will always fight for accountability and transparency from our superintendents, our teachers, and even the school committee itself. Our families deserve nothing less. Braintree is at a crossroad. We can either continue to focus on what to cut, or we can come together to invest in our schools, support our teachers, and give our children the opportunity they deserve. On November 4th, I ask your support to bring a fresh voice, new idea, and unity to the Braintree school community. Together, we can give our children the schools and the futures they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you. As they say, once a womp, always a womp. Thank you to North Braintree and BCAM again, and thank you all for being here tonight and for caring so deeply about our schools and our community. I'm running for school committee because I believe every decision we make should begin and end with what's best for our students. As a parent, a volunteer, and a coach, I've seen firsthand how strong schools build communities. So tonight, I'm not only asking for your vote on November 4th, but to work together, to build together, so that we can lead from a place of integrity and strength. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacy?
I think anyone that's even up here looking to take a seat on the school committee is a saint. But I do think there are a few things that set me apart. I have a penchant for solving problems. I'm literally like that nerd that does logic puzzles for fun. I have a strong desire to build meaningful relationships with everyone in our community. I want to hear all your concerns. I want to hear all your ideas. I want you to tell me when I'm wrong. I'm here to hear it. But in turn, it's really to truly represent our residents and our community. It's not about what I want, it's about what everyone wants. I also have not only my own 2 kids in school here, but I have nieces, nephews, and other extended family all across Braintree. They span several different schools, so I kind of have, feet on the ground. I know what's happening in all these different schools on a day-to-day basis. And lastly, I believe my background in finance and leadership would be an asset to the school committee. I really do feel that I can help a lot in the budget, data analysis, and planning and strategizing areas, which I think is sorely needed at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kathy?
Thank you. Braintree schools face real challenges. MCAS scores that haven't rebounded since the pandemic, aging buildings, and uncertain funding. But we also have great strengths, a talented and experienced staff, supportive families, and a diverse, resilient student body. 4 years ago, I closed by quoting the Massachusetts Constitution, and I think it's worth repeating. In 1779, our own John Adams wrote that knowledge, wisdom, and public education must be cherished. To truly cherish public education, we must ensure it fulfills its promise to meet the needs of all students. As a member of the school committee, I pledge to continue working toward that goal. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's thank all of our candidates for school committee. I would ask now that the candidates for counselor at large please join me. And while they are joining me, I just want to make a public service announcement. The town election will take place on Tuesday, November 4th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you're unsure of your precinct or polling location, please check with the town clerk's office. For those voting early, absentee ballots will be available beginning the week of October 14th and must be mailed in by October 28th. If you miss this deadline, you can vote via absentee ballot in person up till November 3rd at noon at the town clerk's office here in the town hall. Well, hello and welcome. We are going to start with Justine and her opening statement.
Good evening. First, I want to thank you, MBCA, and Bill Cam. I am a proud Braintree graduate school parent. With over 35 years as a sales and service enablement software engineer for Fortune 500, I have built my career on listening, solving problems, and building successful team together. Along my husband, we found a restaurant equipment business that has served the New England for over 20 years, giving firsthand insight into the everyday challenges faced by families and small business owners. I have been deeply involved in Braintree for years. As a former school PTO member, road race director, and now a founder of a nonprofit, Bring Diversity to Town. I'm not running for politics. I'm running to move Braintree forward as honored named Citizen of the Year for Braintree.
Thank you,
I bring
Justine.
experience.
Thank you. Julia.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Julia Flaherty, and I am running for Braintree Town Council at large because as Braintree lays the groundwork for our future, residents need a counselor they can count on to keep people informed on the issues we face together. Whether it's our budget, our taxes, or new development, I am deeply committed to helping residents understand what's at the table and why. Informed residents become powerful advocates for community change, and this kind of engagement is urgently needed as we consider how Braintree should chart its course forward. By engaging residents through office hours, community meetings, newsletters, and sometimes right at your front door, I am working to help build a level of understanding for how our local government works and where we stand on matters like the budget, because that information makes our advocacy really powerful, and that's what's needed to make sure your voice gets heard.
Thank you. Dave.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dave Ringus, and I am honored to have served as one of Braintree's 3 councilors at large, a position I am seeking re-election to in November. First off, I wanted to thank North Braintree Civic Association for holding this event. Events like this are so important in allowing residents to hear directly from candidates on the issues facing our town. As a quick bio, I'm a lifelong Braintree resident, born here, raised here, schooled here. I played soccer on the fields at East. I took the training wheels off my bike over on the basketball court at French's Common. I graduated Braintree High before going on to college and ultimately law school. It was never a question for me that I would reside here and raise my family here. I have 3 girls, 21, 16, and 2. It's a spread. But given that, I am thoroughly invested in ensuring the continued safety and quality of life that we all expect in our community. I am mindful of the proud history and tradition of Braintree, and I look to maintain those values while ensuring our town is positioned for future success. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Sterling, and I'm proud to be your candidate for Town Councilor at Large here in Braintree. Thank you to the North Braintree Civic Association for hosting this forum tonight. Thank you to all the candidates participating tonight as well. And thank you to everyone here tonight, at home and here at the Town Hall, and to BCAM for streaming this. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I'm running for Councilor at Large to give back to the community that helped shape the man I am today. I was born and raised here, and I've chosen to stay here and raise a family here. My wife Karen and I were blessed to welcome our son Ricky about a year ago, and it's been absolutely life-changing, as many of you in the audience can probably understand. I have the experience needed to hit the ground running and the new energy and enthusiasm to run hard. At every door that I knock and every door that I will knock, I tell people that I'm here to listen and want to hear the issues and concerns that you have for our town. I'm looking forward to hearing your questions tonight. I would be honored to earn your vote, and I hope that we can work together to find common sense solutions to create a community that we all can be proud of.
Thank you. And the first question of the evening will go to Justine. What are the biggest challenges that Braintree has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
Thank you. I don't have to come out with my issues. As I knock on doors and speak with residents, I heard the same questions again and again. What is our long-term financial plans? How many more school high-density apartments are being built? Will we need another tax override? Are school closure on the table? Those are fair and important concerns. This is our challenge. Braintree residents deserve a clear, transparent, and actionable plan for our town's financial future. Right now, the roadmap is not clear, and that needs to change. We cannot continue to rely on one-time fee for large apartment building, development, or repeat tax override. Instead, we need to prioritize transparency in financial decision and long-term planning, smarter development that reflect community needs. This is a shared responsibility, and we need to work together to take those challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Julia, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, that's okay, thanks.
I just want to clarify, and I apologize. The question is 1 minute. You have 1 minute to respond, and this question does have a rebuttal.
Okay, so the biggest challenge in Braintree is finding ways to ensure that our revenue grows at a rate that allows us to take care of our town. Now, that's an enormous umbrella term, and it means a lot of things, but it's the best way I have to describe the heart of the conversations that I've had with residents across town this summer. They want to know, how are we going to ensure that our physical infrastructure, our roads and sidewalks and buildings are safe and modern and accessible and equipped and maintained well enough to enable the people who work there, the people who take care of our community, to do their jobs. And they're deeply concerned with making sure that we're able to employ enough people to do those jobs, enough people to keep us safe and educate us and do the maintenance for the infrastructure we invest in. It's not a minor challenge, but fortunately, we have many opportunities for how we can move forward to solve the problem, and a lot of them are rooted in how we promote commercial development in town. So I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
What are the biggest challenges that Braintree has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
Thank you very much. I think any of us could say that the biggest issue facing Braintree is budget constraints. As we hear it from the people when we're knocking on doors, we hear it in the meetings that we hold here. We need to find ways to improve our schools. We need to find ways to build a new high school. We need to find ways to renovate or build a new fire station. And that has not been an easy task. We have to find new revenue streams, and finding those streams without losing the character of the community that we all love and cherish. We need to look at ways where we bring people together to conversate, to discuss, to deliberate. And I think what we need is really an open sort of forum to do that. As a member of the council, I will continue to be that welcoming voice. I'll continue to bring people to the table and hopefully engage so we can move together as one community to find the answer to these. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
What are the biggest challenges that Braintree has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
So, like any town and any city, there are a lot of challenges that we face as a community, and whether it's budget constraints or aging schools or traffic. As I'm on the doors, I hear all of these issues pop up. I think one of the biggest things to try to get after this is look at the balanced budget. And through my work up at the State House and my legal background, I've been dealing with balanced budgets for a long time. And I think figuring out how to balance our budgets and increase revenue, and not just in one avenue. We're a town that does need money, but we're not desperate. We're not broke. We're like other towns. So there are many ways to get this revenue. And there's, the master plan for the schools is another way. We need to look at how to maybe redistrict, how to find money to improve on this infrastructure for these schools. And this all comes down to communication between, as a counselor, with school committee, with the mayor's office, and most importantly, with you, the constituents, listening to you and coming back to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2, we will start with you, Julia. Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like? And how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute? You have 1 minute to respond to this, and this question has a rebuttal.
So I'm going to focus, I think, on where Braintree can make changes to our housing. The biggest need that Braintree has right now for housing is what's called the missing middle. This is, smaller homes or condos or the kinds of starter homes that young families can afford or that seniors can downsize into. It is incredibly expensive to buy a 4-bedroom colonial in Braintree, but that's not the kind of housing that every single person needs. So I think that when I talk to people about how they imagine themselves living in Braintree in the future, either because they think that they would like to downsize or because they would like to live in a newer home but that is just maybe smaller, this missing middle is where I think Braintree can focus.
Thank you. Dave, would you
Yes.
like me to repeat the question?
Most definitely.
Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like? And how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute? And you have 1 minute to respond, and this question has a rebuttal.
Thank you. I think the biggest missing component within Braintree in terms of our housing right now is the 55-plus community. Everything starts with that 55-plus housing. Councilor Flaherty touched on it in her answer, but once we add more 55-plus housing to our housing stock, that is going to allow those folks who have raised their families here, who have made their lives here, to stay in town, to move to a smaller condo, maybe a smaller home. And in doing that, what that will do is then free up more housing stock for those younger families who are now expanding and want to move into a slightly larger home. And that then opens up the homes that they were in to younger college grads who want to come back to our town and start their families here. So I think without us opening up more 55-plus housing and finding affordable 55-plus housing, we're going to be stuck in this sort of circle where the rates of our homes, the rates of our residences continue to rise, and we're not welcoming in those younger families. So again, 55-plus housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Ryan, and Ryan, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like, and how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute?
Yeah, as we all know, and as the question alluded to, housing is a very tough issue here in town and in many towns throughout the state. Me personally, I rent here in town, but I want to stay here and I love it. We're a young family and we're trying to stay here and live here. So it's personal. We want to stay, we want to build. We want to build smartly and in the right zones. And as council, we want to make sure that the town still has a decision on where these communities or these new houses are being built and what's being built there and what size they are. And my other candidates touched on this as well. I think that the 55 community housing will be great, of veterans, people with disabilities. These housing needs to happen, and with my time at the state as well, I've worked with groups like Neighborhood Works, who did a great project in Holbrook, right down the street, for a 55-plus community, and those people got to stay in their community with their kids and their grandkids and their friends, and we get to keep these neighborhoods and this community how we grew up with them and we love them.
Thank you. Justine, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like, and how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute?
I was part of the master plan steering community who helped to roll this housing project we talk about. One thing we done during the master plan was we surveyed the resident, the voice of resident, what they want. Service-enriched housing, single housing, age-restricted housing, and accessible housings. Braintree need condos and smaller housing to allow young professionals, especially teachers and first responders who have the capability and opportunity to own a home. And also we need low-income accessible housing, which that we could partner with nonprofit locally to get funds to build and to make Braintree resident as a priority so that they can stay with the community that where they want it and also what they love to stay in Braintree.
Thank you. Does anybody have a rebuttal to anything that was said? Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that I think that we do, as a town, need a new master plan. I know there was one with working groups years ago, but it was never finalized. So I think that we need to create this new master plan, and we need to use common sense and informed decisions when we do this, and look at keeping our neighborhoods the way they are. Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to question 3, and we're going to start with Dave. Dave, what are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents? You have 1 minute to respond, and there is no rebuttal to this question.
Thank you. I think right off the bat, as I've knocked on doors and as I've seen over the last year in terms of when our community was facing some tough decisions regarding, obviously it was a school committee issue, but regarding sort of the possible consolidation or closure of schools, residents approached me that they didn't feel like they knew what was going on. Residents approached me that this was all new to them. So to me, what that says is that there hasn't been enough or a level of transparency that allowed residents to feel like they were informed. I think that the first thing the new council can do as we move forward is finding new ways to engage with residents, new ways to push that information out. I know the town website was just updated, I believe, as of yesterday, but I think the council itself has to take a role, whether that be through social media, whether that be through it's a section of the website that it is managing itself or the clerk of the council is managing, to ensure that residents are informed of when we're meeting on things and to ensure that the knowledge base is there for them to sort of make the decisions or get those what they're thinking about to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan, and would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, And what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents?
Thank you. There are a few priorities in this town that we need to fix. I think one of the major ones that I hear as I'm going door to door is traffic in this town. And I know it's very tough to solve, but it's a problem that we can work together with and work on. We can work with DPW, we can work with the town engineer. As many of you know, we have multiple state roads in this town, and we can work with the state. And I've worked with MassDOT throughout my career on these roads and in other roads throughout town, and get the traffic signals up. And on top of that, work with public safety. They do a great job here, the police, the fire, everyone does. But to get them here and to get them funding to help police these for our pedestrians and our people on bikes, and just getting traffic where it is. And again, using common sense solutions and decisions as a council member with transparency to tell this is what we're doing, this is when we're having a meeting, and getting there out to the public all over the district. That's why I wanted to run for councilor at large.
Thank you. Justine, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years? And what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents? You have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you. As formal charter review community member, I know the responsibility as a town councilor is budget, reviewing project, approving budgets. And that's when I started to learn about our budget that the town has put out. One thing that I learned from if we are not continue to bring revenue into the town, if we are not continue question each line of the budget, we will get to 4.2 million deficit by the year of 2029 as forecasted budget. Therefore, my high priority is challenge the budget. Ask every question on the line item of how they're being spent, and looking at forecasts. As working in corporate America, I know if you're not contribute, you're the issue. Therefore, we need to add a line of revenue in our budget planning, not
Thank you,
forecast.
Justine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, that would be excellent.
What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents?
So I think that the main problem that Braintree needs to focus on is to do with revenue. And the way that the council can help the town contend with that problem is to do with looking at our zoning plan to determine how we can better zone for commercial development. This is specifically highlighted in the master plan that we produced in 2023. And so a couple of those ideas are around Wood Road, which is a good example of an area where there's opportunity. So for example, if we look at like amending our use table, for example, to in our town zoning bylaw to include and therefore attract new kinds of businesses, business models or industry sectors. If we consider that in light of the Wood Road Revitalization Initiative, then I think that that's a thing that Braintree can zero in over the next couple of years to grow our revenue.
Thank you. And for our final question, and we'll start with Ryan. The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of the mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or they have not. You have 90 seconds to respond to this question, and this question does have a rebuttal.
Thank you. Yeah, as you stated, it's the legislative body of the town, and town council, that's what we're tasked to do. And I think with my background at the State House in the legislature, that's something that I've had experience doing, whether it's balanced budgeting and whether it's zoning laws and researching those and figure out where to change those or accept variances or don't accept variances. And I think that while being part of this council, the best thing to do, and what I'm going to do, is ask questions. And not only of the people that will be in front of the council, but I'm going to ask questions to you, the citizens of town, and listen and bring that in front of the council and see and let your voices be heard. And that's why I'm asking for your vote, is because we're here to fix this problem of, I don't think enough questions have been asked when the budget comes through. We need to be more transparent on our revenues coming in and are they above our expenditures and where we're going to find this money. And when things are zoned, we got to make sure that we keep the right of the citizens, the right of the town to make sure whatever is going in that zoning area will be the best for the town of Braintree at the end. And I think that the practical local solutions in asking these questions, and that's the biggest thing, is asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Justine, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or have not. You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. First, I would like to give credit for all the town council who have sat here, 9 of them, for every meeting, listening, and seeing what the town needs. However, I have not seen any. We need more transparency from the town councilor. Example is representative interest of Braintree resident in local governance. Example will be Tiger Hill. They formed a civic association just because their voice was not heard. And doing a critical projects of the Dalton projects. Our town councilor has worked with the developer for over a year, but our residents' voice was never being asked. Those are the example of the advocacy and representation that our residents did not get. That's why you see residents start to crying out loud. That's why you see why we had a master plan which was complete but never executed. And also, when I went to all the budget meeting video watching over back to the May, Councilor have a lot of detail regarding to how each department run, but never question the lines in each budget. So therefore, I'm asking Councilor, whoever going to be next, please reveal all the detail and communicate.
Thank you. Julia, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or have not. You have 90 seconds.
So the town council's procedure for reviewing the budget is one of the most critical functions that we perform each year. And as a member of the Ways and Means Committee, I have been part of that process every spring for the last 3 terms. And what I can tell you is that that process takes a month. It is at least 20 hours of public meetings that are easily 2 to 3 hours long every single time. The budget is scrutinized in an incredible depth of detail. The level of questions that are asked of the various directors who come forward is it's a high level of scrutiny, and I think that every single pressure point of those budgets is absolutely put to the test. And then and then the next heavy lift that the council tries to do, or that at least I try to do as a counselor, is to explain that budget to residents. Where does our revenue come from? Why is it spent as it is and not in some other way? This is a complex question to explain. It takes a lot of time. I have done it through Zoom meetings. I have done it through newsletters. I have done it through PowerPoint presentations, and sometimes I just do it right there at the door. So these are the level of scrutiny and detail to these legislative concerns is as high, I think, as I can make it.
Thank you. Dave, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I agree with the way the question is written. The council is the legislative body of the town of Braintree, and our two main functions, I would say, is the review of the budget as well as making decisions on zoning. The charter, the way it is written, as came up through some of the school committee answers earlier, it does set a very strong executive branch that sets the budget. The council's role is only to lower that budget. Nothing can be added. I do think that the council has done a wonderful job, especially over this last year, through the hearings that our Ways and Means subcommittee have done, as well as the public hearings that we have held in asking the questions that need to be asked. In terms of zoning, I've been lucky enough to chair the Ordinance and Rules Subcommittee for the last 6 years. One of the things that I hold as tantamount to the way that I run those meetings is, despite the fact that public comment isn't legally required at O&R meetings on zoning changes, every single time I hold an O&R meeting on zoning, I welcome public comment, and I do have a public comment period, because I believe that is the most important part of that when we are looking at zoning changes. I will continue to push for residents to be heard at O&R meetings and at open full council meetings, because obviously zoning is that issue that really affects the individual neighborhoods and is one that we have to ensure that we are hearing from residents every single time. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have a rebuttal to anything that was said? Justine?
I do. One thing that we talk about as transparency is one of the major roles of our town councils. However, during a critical project, the entire zoning board have either resigned or been told to resign or retire. But during the new appointment of a whole new board, there's no transparency, no communication. What was the reason? And I believe that our residents deserved it.
Thank you. We are now going to start with our closing statements, and we will start with Ryan.
Thank you again to the North Braintree Civic Association for putting this forum together. Thank you, Maria, for moderating tonight. And I appreciate the opportunity again to be here with you and tell you why I'm running for Braintree Council at Large. My family has been involved or here and lived in Braintree for over 40 years, from my father coaching at BYB to my brother being a proud member of the Braintree Fire Department. I want to make sure that this town continues in a positive direction for future generations like my son, my nephews, and my nieces. I want us to maintain the core values and character that has defined our community, and we can do that. And we can bring in a new era of stability and smart growth for our town that we all love so much. We need common sense solutions and informed decisions. I'm running for Braintree Town Councilor at Large because I'm proud of Braintree and I'm proud to be from here. It's time for me to give back to the town I love, and I'd be honored to have your support and your vote on Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dave?
Thank you once again to North Braintree Civic Association for holding this event. As I said at the outset of this, events like this are so important and are allowing residents to hear directly from candidates on these issues and are a vital part of our electoral process. Thank you to Ms. Mafiglioli for your role here tonight. Thank you also to Ryan, Julia, and Justine. I think everyone up here tonight cares about this town and wants to see it achieve what it can. I've approached my role as a councilor in a measured and even-keeled way. I've welcomed open conversation and debate because ultimately this is the way we're going to move our community forward. It's not the voice of one mayor, not the voice of one councilor, not the voice of one school committee member, but the voice of a united community. I will continue to bring the institutional knowledge I've gained over my time on the school committee, over my time here on the council, and I will couple that with my understanding of the traditions and history of our town. I respectfully request one of your 3 votes for Councilor at Large on November 4th. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Julia?
First, thank you to the NBCA for bringing this event together. I think it's really critically important that we keep our democratic process in Braintree robust, and this is a part of that. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight. You had many ways that you could have spent this beautiful fall evening, and I'm grateful to you for choosing to be involved in our local political process, because it's really one of the most impactful votes that you can make. Thank you to all those people who came to the door this summer when I interrupted whatever it was that you were doing by ringing your bell. Thank you for sharing your concerns, for listening to my ideas, for making suggestions of your own. I've been knocking on doors because I want you to know who I am. I want you to know how to reach out to me. And most of all, I want you to feel invited to reach out. You should feel invited to be part of our local political process. So I've been making these introductions in person because I think you're so much more likely to reach out when you know who it is you're reaching out to. So, like they say, don't be a stranger.
Thank you. And finally, Justine.
Thank you. As I reflect how I got here today, sitting here, because our resident voice needed to be here in this room and our mayor's office. Over the past week, I knocked doors, listened to your concerns, and share our hopes for the town. One thing is clear, Braintree is ready for leadership that plans not for today, but tomorrow. We need a transparency in how decisions are made. We need a long-term financial roadmap that doesn't rely on one-time fee or repeated tax override. We need smarter development that represent our neighborhoods and strengthen our tax base. And we need to protect the service that matter most, like our school, our public, and senior supports. Thank you for your trust, your time, and your voice. I humbly ask you to vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine, and thank you to all the candidates for Councilor at Large. If I could ask for District 1 candidates to come join me. Welcome. We are going to start with our opening statements for District 1 councilors. We're going to start with you, James.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Jimmy Diuti. I am a lifelong resident of District 1. My family has been in District 1 for about 5 generations now. I attended Braintree schools. I went to Liberty and then South. My siblings don't consider me a townie because I went to BC High, so they still hold that against me. And so I am the youngest of 5, and all of my siblings except for my oldest sister still live in Braintree, and 2 of my brothers both live in District 1. I first became involved in town government when I was 18, and I ran for town meeting. I became one of the youngest town meeting members ever elected. I also served on the Finance Committee. I then went on to become an elected member of the Parks Commission. I sat on the Community Preservation Commission, and then most recently, I sat on the Superintendent Search Committee. My professional career, for the past 20 years, I've worked in education policy, including Chapter 70, and also at the School Building Authority for a number of years, and also as a special education advocate. Oh, okay.
Thank you. Rob.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Kadayer, candidate for Town Council District 1. I would like to thank the North Braintree Civic Association for hosting this event tonight, and I would also like to thank all of you in the audience and watching at home as well. I'm a lifelong Braintree resident, graduating from Hollis, East, and Braintree High School in 2012. Now, I've been attending and have been actively involved speaking up at Town Council, Planning Board, and Zoning Board meetings about major issues facing District 1 residents for a couple years now. Being actively involved is what has inspired me to serve the town that I've always called home and to run for Town Council. Over the past several months, I have talked with hundreds of residents, a huge majority of whom have expressed that they do not feel they are being represented well and that their voices are not being heard at Town Hall. I intend to change that and to elevate and amplify the voices, concerns, and ideas of the residents of District 1. It's time for the people to have a seat at the table again.
Thank you. We're going to start with James with the first question. What are the biggest challenges that your district has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
Thank you.
This question, you have 1 minute to respond, and it has no rebuttal.
District 1 has some of the most significant tax base within the town. They have the mall. They have a significant amount of development up and down Pond Street and Granite Street, and maintaining and holding those developers responsible for the properties that they've built and developed, I think, is one of the largest, the biggest concerns in terms of keeping them responsible and holding their feet to the fire to maintain the services that they should be providing to the community, and hold them accountable to the residents, and ensure that the properties that they own and maintain are well maintained, but also that they're appropriately maintained, and just to hold the developers' feet to the fire in terms of what they've built.
Thank you. Rob?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Of course. What are the biggest challenges that your district has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
So the common concerns shared by nearly all the residents that I've spoken to consist of rampant overdevelopment at the expense of neighborhoods, increased taxes and fees, threats of school closures, infrastructure issues, traffic issues, and rising crime, usually stemming from the South Shore Plaza. What I can do as town councilor is to ensure, firstly, that all development is taken with the residents' opinions in mind, first of all. Also, we have to focus more on commercial development in attracting new businesses instead of just building apartment buildings everywhere. That would broaden the tax base and help get the tax burden off of local residents. As the higher taxes have been crushing people over the last couple years, I feel like that is the way forward. And on top of that, okay.
Thank you. Question 2, and Rob, we're going to start with you. Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like, and how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute? You have 1 minute to respond, and this question has a rebuttal.
So right now, it seems as though the only housing we're seeing developed in Braintree is ultra-high-density housing that is being bumped up against neighborhoods such as the Flaherty School neighborhood and the Dyer Hill neighborhood. We need better options. Is there even a plan at the moment, or is the only plan to saturate Braintree with apartment buildings? Why not starter homes or owner-occupied townhomes and condos? Now, I say this as the youngest candidate standing for election this year. I and most other people my age still believe in the American dream to own a home, not to live in an apartment building and pay $3,000 in monthly rent to some out-of-town corporation or LLC. We need a better housing plan with better options. Residents prefer any other option before large apartment complexes. We've heard earlier today people saying 55 plus. One thing that I haven't heard is housing for veterans. I feel like if there's any option to expand housing, veterans should be prioritized as well.
Thank you. James, and would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like? And how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute?
I think that if I were able to rewrite the housing section, I think we would have to take a significant look at rezoning certain parcels of land around the town, well, especially around the district. There are certain segments of the commercial property and industrial property that have sat dormant, and I think that rezoning that to provide for housing for 55 plus and seniors would be something that would benefit the community, but also draw more people to the town and make it more attractive for younger families and to move to town, and also to have keep the older population in town closer to their own families.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does anybody have a rebuttal to this question? Okay, we're going to move to question 3. And we're going to start with you, James. What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents? You have 1 minute to respond, and there is no rebuttal.
I think one of the significant challenges the town's going to face, especially now with federal funding and state funding really drying up, is going to be the fiscal budget that we're going to see. I think there are concerns in terms of what our budget stands as now, and we just had to do it in override, and there are concerns that there'll be another override. I think that providing for an adequate school building construction program is something that we need to work on. The schools are an issue at the moment, and especially at the elementary school level, and there is significant overcrowding, and I think that is something that that along with the budget constraints is something that's going to have to be thought of in a prudent and fiscally sound manner, and there's going to be a lot of cooperation between the municipal level and the state level, because the federal level is really impeding. Okay, fine.
Thank you. Rob?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents?
So I'd say the main priority is to balance the budget. We're already forecasted to go in the red as soon as next year, and we could be about $4 million in the red by the end of fiscal year 28. We need to broaden the tax base, bring in new businesses, and help get the tax burden off of residents, especially in light of the previous override. Additionally, we need to ensure that residents' voices are heard and prioritized. Many people feel as though their views are being sidelined in favor of out-of-town interests in recent years. I would ensure that residents' input is taken into account and worked into any decision that the council makes. After all, you don't elect representatives to make decisions for you, rather to represent you. I will encourage everyone in District 1 and beyond, as well as encourage all councilors to commit to representing the people. Seek their opinions, look to them for guidance, A government for, of, and by the people works best when people are engaged and the counselors listen.
Thank you. And we're going to move on to the fourth question. Rob, we are going to start with you. The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or have not. You have 90 seconds to respond, and the question has a rebuttal.
I do not believe that the incumbent town council has been doing a good job to those responsibilities. As I just stated, we already are facing another budget shortfall, and that is after getting an $8.5 million override. Additionally, the town council has not acted responsibility in terms of zoning changes. One of the big ones that I would like to bring up is the Zon PUD behind Flaherty School, which is a project impacting District 1. The council had virtually no input over the overlay that was approved was written by the developer and their lead. The project was through without any regard for the neighbors in that neighborhood. And on top of that, now we're dealing with the Dublin Water Project. Other neighborhoods on a dire hill. And also with the dismissal of the zoning board, none of the council got for the former zoning board as they were kicked out. I believe that in the way that the replacements were put forward, there was virtually no input and they were just rubber stamped. The council needs to take more proactive measures to approve these appointments and to make sure that the will of the people is respected.
Thank you. James, would you like me to repeat
Yes,
the
please.
question? The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or have not. You have 90 seconds.
I think that the people that ran for town council and have been currently sitting there have done the best job that they done the best job that they can. I don't want to just sit here and disparage the work that they have done. I do think that there have been issues around town in terms of the Zoning Board of Appeals and also the Planning Board, but a lot of that is out of the purview of the council. I think that there are fiscal challenges that the town is facing, but that is not all on the council. There have been issues in this town for a long time, even back to before we came to the mayoral form of government, and that there are things that could be done better, but I'm not going to blame it on any group or any individual. I think that there could be better mechanism to communicate with the constituents in the town, and that you have to give people credit for even signing up to do this job or to run for office. So that's it.
Thank you. We are going to start with closing statements, and we will start with Rob.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to thank the North Braintree Civic Association for hosting this event, as well as thank all of you attending in person or watching at home tonight. I know the Bruins game just started. There's 2 baseball playoff games, and the Thursday night football game is coming on in about 45 minutes. So it means a lot that you chose to be here instead, and hopefully you don't have anybody going in your fantasy league tonight. I would like to reiterate that if elected, I will be a voice for you, the people of District 1. I will always put your concerns and views first above all else, and I will serve with both honesty and integrity. I have crucial experience in financial analysis that will prove valuable in scrutinizing budgets and working to help save you money. Fiscal responsibility is quite literally my job. I will be ready on day one to serve as town councilor for District 1, and I would be honored to earn your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. James?
I'd like to thank the North Braintree Civic Association for hosting this evening and for everyone to take the time out of their schedule to come here tonight. I think that our town is going to face some significant issues in the next couple of years, and we're going to need a creative way to address these issues and concerns. I believe that I have a lot of the experience in terms of the school building authority, state advocacy, and municipal finance to be able to help and work together with the other city councilors to lead the town forward with the mayor's office and address all the concerns that the town will face. It's not going to be easy. At times it will be challenging, but as long as we work together and in the same direction, I think that the town will be better for it, and that at the end of the day, we'll be better. The town will be better off with just good leadership and good experience. And I thank you all for attending tonight.
Thank you. And let's give a warm round of applause for our District 1 candidates. Woo! I'd now like to ask our District 5 candidates to come join me. Come on up. We are going to start with our opening statements, and Meredith is going to begin.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the North Braintree Civic Association, to those in attendance and those at home tonight. My name is Meredith Baraka, and I'm running for re-election because local government matters. It impacts our lives every single day. And District 5 residents, you deserve a leader you know and trust, a leader with a proven track record of getting things done for you and, more importantly, with you. Together, we've passed a tree protection ordinance, we've started the first annual morning of community service, we've fought hard for intersection improvements at Union Street and against vacancy and blight on Ivory Street. And this is just the start of the list. What we've done so far is only a fraction of what we can and will accomplish together, which is why I'm respectfully asking for your vote on November 4th. It's your guarantee this work continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert?
Good evening. My name is Robert Toma, and I'm running. Sorry. I need these. Can I start again?
Of course.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Robert Toma, and I'm running as a candidate for District 5 Town Councilor. I've had the privilege of calling Braintree my home for my entire life. My family has lived, worked, and served this community for more than 70 years, and I've seen firsthand what makes this town special. Our people, our neighborhoods, and our shared sense of responsibility to one another. For too long, we've watched local leadership lose sight of what matters, overspending, overbuilding, raising taxes while overlooking the very people who make this town great. We deserve a government that listens, plans responsibly, and leads with integrity. My vision is simple. Restore fiscal discipline, promote smart, balanced development, including strong commercial components, and return transparency and accountability to our local government. Every tax dollar should be spent responsibly, and every development should strengthen our neighborhoods, not strain them. It's time for fresh ideas, honest leadership, and the courage to say enough to politics as usual. Our town, our future, your voice. Let's do this together. My name is Robert Tomer, and I'm running as your District 5 Town Councilor.
Thank you. Question 1. Meredith, what are the biggest challenges that your district has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges?
Thank you very much. What I see as the biggest challenge in District 5 specifically, I also think is our biggest opportunity. And that is to reimagine what we can do with the transfer station and how we can end our reliance on that. Today, 100 years ago, I should say, that location made a lot of sense when that was an industrial corridor. Today, the transfer station is posing a grave threat to our quality of life in our neighborhoods, a public health and environmental challenge, and it is an economic bottleneck for reimagining and repurposing Ivory Street. It is our biggest opportunity for exactly the same reason. Because if we can end our reliance on the transfer station, what we can unlock along Ivory Street is only as big as our imaginations. What I've been doing about this right now, in addition to working with the neighborhoods, is as the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, I've opened up a public hearing to really dive into the financial impacts of removing the transfer station. And I look forward to continuing this work in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert,
Could you repeat the question?
of
please?
course. What are the biggest challenges that your district has been facing or will face, and what is your strategy to address these challenges? You have 1 minute to respond.
District 5 is a large district. It encompasses not only the MBTA overlay, but the issues that we have at Union Street. Over it, we abut Dalton, and then there's Armstrong Cook. There are so many different things there to tackle. I'm not certain if we can do anything at the MBTA overlay with the dump or the transfer station. I'm not certain if we can move that stuff and make it go away. I would more focus on Armstrong Cork and how it's going to change and divide the community. We're going to bring in 750 apartments and over 2,000 people. Up until now, the town council and the mayor haven't been clear about the true impact that's going to have on our community, and we need to work that out. That right now is the most daunting task in District 5 and the entire town, because all the traffic problems that we have are only get exacerbated beyond that.
Thank you. Question 2. And Robert, we're going to start with you. Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like, and how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute? You have 1 minute to respond, and this question has a rebuttal.
Okay, so I've been here a really long time, and it's a difficulty to come in here and get a starter home. I'm not certain now if you can do that unless you cooperate with a developer and try to find a way to make an affordable house. ADU has been proposed as one way. Condominiums would be a better alternative because of the amount of tax revenue it would bring in as opposed to apartments. Apartments is really not a good idea because we're not getting revenue streams that we need to support the budget in the town. I'd like to see more 55 and over development, but you have to partner with the right developer, you have to get the right location, and everyone has to work together towards that goal. I can't think of anything else that's more important. If we're going to bring people here that can afford to live here, either at the beginning or at the end of their time here.
Thank you. Meredith, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Housing was a major component of Braintree's master plan. If you could write the housing section yourself, what would your vision look like, and how would you explain it to residents in 1 minute? And you have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Making sure that our residents have a wide variety of housing options is really important so that people can stay in the town they love. And we have done a lot on this front. We have, the council passed the MBTA Communities Act. That has brought in apartment-style homes. We just recently passed, to comply with state law, the accessory dwelling unit law. That's going to allow people to build some tiny homes. But what we don't have today is an affordable home component. And one of my priorities in the upcoming term is to work towards either an affordable housing trust or some kind of an affordable housing overlay. Housing is the #1 barrier to generating wealth when you can't afford your own home. So making housing affordable for seniors, veterans, young people is definitely a missing component of our housing stock today, and that would be a top priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have a rebuttal? Robert?
The incumbent has been in office for a while, and what I've noticed with the town council and the mayor, they're more concerned with development than the people that live here. We need a change that goes towards the people that live here, the people that want to come here and live. We need to go away from developers that only want to build apartments. Whatever that looks like is better than just apartments. Apartments are not the answer for everyone.
Thank you, Robert. We are moving on to question 3, and we are going to start with you, Meredith. What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents? You have 1 minute, and this question has no rebuttal.
Thank you very much. Well, I already spoke about the transfer station earlier, so if I have to pick a second priority, it would be working closely with the businesses and the neighborhoods around South Braintree Square. As we've already heard this evening, we are going to be welcoming new residents to our community in and around South Braintree Square, and it is vitally important that our small businesses that are the heart of what makes South Braintree Square the unique place it is, have adequate parking, improved traffic flow, improved walkability. Ensuring that our small family-run businesses thrive is absolutely critical to our future success. And thinking ahead now to how we can make that happen is going to take a lot of active listening, a lot of idea generation, and a lot of collaboration. And that is something I have been and will continue to do, working in close concert with the small businesses in South Braintree Square. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert, would you like me to repeat the question?
That would be awesome.
What are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents?
The first thing is that there needs to be more communication with the people that live here for as long as I can remember. A lot of stuff doesn't get to the community. It stays here. That needs to change. Wherever it started, it needs to stop. All the town council meetings and all the planning board meetings and all the zoning board of appeals meetings, anything to do with the town, that communication has to be open and transparent to a fault. We need to find a way to have everybody involved in government that cares, and we need to encourage it because our town's vitality depends on it. That is number one. Number two is we need people in government that if they don't agree with any part of the government and what they're doing, they need to rebel against it. They need to speak for the people in the town. The people in the town are the reason why we're here. They're the ones that matter more than any of us. And it has to be that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Meredith, would you like me to repeat the question? I'm sorry. The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples of where you believe they have or have not. I apologize. Is that the correct question? Yes, okay,
think that's-
continue.
Okay, and
Sorry.
it's a minute?
You have 90 seconds to respond, and there is a rebuttal.
Thank you, no problem. Thank you so much. So as you stated, the council's role on paper is those three critical things that you mentioned. But I believe a counselor's role goes beyond those three things. It requires clear, consistent information and showing up for residents day in and day out. It means explaining the complex information in easy to understand terms, which is what I have been doing for the last 6 years through infographics, video recaps of council meetings, 6 years of monthly newsletters, and making sure your government is accessible to you, which is why I hold weekly office hours. I've had more than 50 community and neighborhood meetings so that you are well informed, you know what's happening, when it's happening, why it's happening, and how you can influence outcomes. But it's more than just the what. I believe a counselor needs to understand the why and the how. It's showing up for people in their inboxes if they want email, at the farmer's market, at flag football, on front porches. That's how counselors can drive results, because you have to be a careful listener and an innovative collaborator. This is the work I've been doing on the council for the last 6 years, and I look forward to continue doing, because it is true. The residents do need representation, and I will promise you to continue to be that voice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please tell me the question again.
The town council plays a critical role in shaping our community. Primary responsibilities of the town council include zoning decisions, budget oversight, and approval of mayoral appointments. Do you believe the council has exercised their powers to legislate, ensure fiscal responsibility, and fill vacancies effectively? Please share specific examples where you believe they have or have not.
It will be a pleasure. The mayor decided that the zoning board of appeals had to go. Instead of anybody in the council rebutting it or having a different point of view, the zoning board of appeals was removed. And the reason was they weren't going along with the Dalton project. It is a travesty, and it needs to be reconsidered. That's one time. In the last year, I began becoming involved in town government because of the override. And it still isn't clear to me now why it was done. And there really isn't a lot of people that are disagreeing with whatever the mayor says. And, yeah, okay. So I would imagine that somebody who speaks for the people will speak for the people and not the mayor, especially when the mayor isn't right. I want to be elected to be your voice, not the mayor's voice. I will collaborate with the mayor. I will collaborate with the town councilors. I will collaborate with the planning board, with the zoning board of appeals, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with the school committee, because the schools need to be fixed, whatever it takes. But we need to find a way to do that, and we can only do that together. But it can't be one voice from here. It has to be all of our voices together. Thank you.
Thank you. And does anybody have a rebuttal? Okay. Meredith, I am going to ask you a question that I'm sorry I failed to ask you.
Okay.
I went to question 4 and you didn't get to respond to question 3. So question 3 is, what are the top priorities you'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years, and what improvements would you advocate for in the way the town council makes decisions or engages with residents? You have 1 minute to respond.
I'm happy to answer that again. I did answer it, the South Braintree
Okay,
Square question.
all right, we're good
Yeah.
then. We are good. Thank
you.
you. I think I apologize. I think we may have had a little mix-up in the audience. So we're going to start with our closing statements. And Robert, we're going to start with you.
Thank you. Just let me get my piece of paper here. Through my life in Braintree, I've seen what makes this town truly exceptional. The families, the neighbors, the history that grounds us, and the schools that shape our children and our future. It's their shared pride, sense of community that keeps Braintree strong. But we've reached a moment where leadership must do better, where decisions are made with transparency, fiscal responsibility, respect for the people who live here. I'm not running for politics. I'm running for accountability, balance, and the belief that the government should serve its citizens and not the other way around. Together, we can restore trust in local leadership, build smarter, more responsible growth, and ensure every voice in Braintree is heard. Our town, our future, our voice. Let's move forward together. My name is Robert Tomer, and I'm running as your District 5 Town Councilor. Thank you. Thank you to NBCA for the time.
Thank you. Meredith?
Thank you again for hosting us this evening. As your counselor, I commit to continue to work hard for you and with you every single day to give you the information, the support, and the representation you deserve. It's why I've published more than 70 newsletters and held hundreds of hours of office hours. It's why I've filmed more than 200 council meeting recap videos and hosted dozens of community meetings to make sure you have access to your government and are well informed about what we've done, where we're going, and how we can get there together. Charting a course for a bright future doesn't just happen. It takes leadership, vision, collaboration, and communication. And my promise remains to be that leader, to advocate for you and all that makes us Braintree. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 4th. It's your guarantee this work continues. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. Thank you to all our candidates for participating this evening. That will end our night. Thank you so much. Please remember to vote Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you.